Hi everybody, my name is Kathure. I am a security analyst at a company called Yelbridges, which is based in Thika, Kenya. And although we are a cybersecurity company, we have a lot of interest in virtual reality. And we had a project running that was called the Virtual Conferencing Center, which ran from June of 2019 all the way to June of 2022. And during this project, we sought to basically do awareness on virtual reality, where we were able to interact with our customers on virtual reality. It played a key role, especially when we had the COVID pandemic, because it was easier to interact with the clients on a virtual space and feel the real immersion of being in the same room as you ideally would in a normal setting. And when we were running this project, a couple of our clients came up to us and asked us, what more could you do on virtual reality? Yes, it's good to do the webinars, it's good to do the trainings, but they challenged us to think beyond the training, to think beyond the webinars. And that's how, when the project ended in June of 2022, we came up with a different project called MetaCom, which, just as the name suggests, it's a metaverse competition where we're trying to develop solutions around virtual reality. We are guided by the theme integrating the corporate spaces into metaverse, and with this in mind, we approached 5 universities in Kenya. That is Meru University of Science and Technology, Dedan Kimathi University of Technology, Machakos University, Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture, and United States International University. And when we approached these universities, what we had in mind is bridging the gap between academia and industry, where we realized that a lot of students tarmac when they leave their academic institutions, but they have the skill sets to do something for the corporates. So to bridge this gap, we wanted to help them to network with these corporates to a point where, as they do their products during the MetaCom competition, then they are able to interact with people in the industry, which is why we didn't want to make MetaCom just a 3-day event or a 2-day event, but instead stretched it into a 3-month event, where we first took the step of asking the students to deliver to us a brief summary of what their product would be about, which would then inform us on what industries to approach in terms of mentorship for the students. And once they had done this, then we went to the next step, which is where they were building, or rather they were coming up with a presentation explaining basically what their product is all about. They came up with a business model canvas to showcase how they intend to make money out of these businesses that they create. But more to this, we gave them the virtual reality headsets that we already had so that they can go and do development around the same. So once we did this process, then we went to the next phase, which was the meet and pitch phase. And during this phase, we invited industry players, the likes of Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, KICD, Tembea Tujenge Kenya, which is basically in the tourism industry, and the likes of Acoustic Visuals, who are architects who basically build houses, build real estate homes and the likes, and also the likes of Alpha Movers, who are logistic movers. And what we had in mind for the meet and pitch, or what we were able to achieve from that, is that the students are able to showcase or let the mentors know what ideas they had in mind. They were able to interact with the mentors, and from there we were able to form what we call not only teams, but to form connections that then went on to the mentorship phase, which is where we are right now. And during this mentorship phase, we call it the building and mentorship phase, which is where the students build alongside mentorship by the industrial players, because as they build their products, we want them to build a product that would help to solve a market need, and not a product that cannot be assimilated into the market at the end of it all. So as they build their product step by step with these industrial partners, then it makes it easier for the product to be as accommodated into the industry. And we have set up a good number of sessions with them to interact with them, ask questions here and there. We also went a step further to introduce them to developers who have basically done development around virtual reality, around AR, around the metaverse, to give them more insights on how they can go about creating models on virtual reality, since it's a new concept to most of them. And we have sponsored a couple of these students to these classes, where they're taking them with these developers, learning the skill that they need to implement at the end of it all. So this period was supposed to run for 5 weeks, which will come to a completion on the 10th of December, which is when we'll hold our finals. And during the finals, we want to award the top 3 students, teams. But with that in mind, we also want them to have the notion of everybody is a winner, which is why we are contacting incubation hubs in Kenya to ensure that all of these projects don't end on the 10th, but they see the light of day, they grow to be businesses, and they get incubated to a point where they're assimilated into the industry. So with that in mind, we have approached a good number of incubation hubs in Kenya to be able to house these students, and we are looking forward to seeing the end products, because we have seen the likes of real estate, where people are basically able to have a house tour before they even go to their homes. They can change the decor if they don't like it. They can change the color of the walls, the shape of the walls, the shading on something they wouldn't ideally like. We have also seen the likes of virtual labs. These are both chemistry labs and anatomy labs, where in the chemistry labs, students are able to mix chemicals in a safe environment without causing any harm to themselves. But it also helps save money for the institution, because the student can do the test as many times as they would like without ideally using the product. We have also seen the likes of a virtual anatomy lab, as I said, which is basically a lab where students studying medicine are able to dissect a human body and learn more around the same, and even be guided by world experts that may not be there at that particular moment. We have also seen the likes of museums, where they want to bring museums in virtual reality, and you're able to basically tour the museum as you would in the actual space. You're able to lift objects, rotate the objects that you ideally wouldn't be able to do in a real setting, and even do traditional dances to understand what life was like back then. We've seen the likes of tourism, where you're able to basically tour an ideal place you'd like to tour and make an informed decision of whether it's worth the investment. Aside from that, we've seen guys come up with solutions around fashion, where you're basically able to upload an avatar and try out African wear without you being at the tailors, and even make a purchase of that African wear on virtual reality. We know there's a lot more we can tap into, and we hope MetaCom speaks to the world and we are able to grow, not only from holding it this year, but holding it as an annual event and involving a couple more universities. We're still looking for a good number of sponsors, but so far so good, and we're happy with what we've been able to do. But if you'd like to be part of MetaCom, you can always reach us using MetaCom at Yelbridges.com, or call our number, which is 0703 412 771. Thank you.